So where we end up is here. So like a cool sort of like jungly style beat. But the purpose of the video today is not like a walkthrough for, you know, start to finish or start to maybe finished. It's about sample selection and sketching out an idea quickly. So these drums, for example, they're a bit rough and ready, right? This bass line probably needs quite a lot of work. Literally just loops with some effects applied to them. This one doesn't have any effects applied to it. So the purpose of this video is not to talk about like the intimacies of sound design or how to make the perfect kick or anything like that. Sometimes people just want to make music that sounds cool, that they can drop into a mix or send to their friends or whatever. And, you know, how can you do that quickly? So what I'll be talking through today is maybe we'll have like a checklist. How do you find samples quickly, right? What are some good places to find samples? How do you then take those samples and create something that's your own by layering them on top of one another, adding effects? And then how can you quickly put ideas on top of those samples to make something that sounds like half decent? So that's what we're going to be going through today, is really how to sketch out a drum and bass song that you can then turn into something better, I guess. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. So a very common question that I always get is, well, where do you find your samples from? Now the short answer is most of them come from Splice, right? Splice is a really amazing resource that you can use because it's got millions of samples. If you're struggling with finding samples or making your own or whatever, I would hugely just recommend investing. Now the other thing, I actually did link this in a previous video, is where I get all of my breaks from. Wow, the huge number of them is this sample pack here. Now, again, I'm going to link it down below, but it is ridiculously good. So it's just a Dropbox folder. I just downloaded all of these. And if you can't make drum and bass out of this sample pack, you know, maybe try house music. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to make a very simple beat just to show you how easy it is to just use, without really that much processing, how you can create really good sounding beats out of a single sample pack and also the breaks that we found here. So let's see if we can find some loops to begin with. That sounds amazing. So the reason that sounds good is this end bit here. So we're definitely going to use that. Bit too much going on. Nice snare, nice and sort of punchy, nice hat. And again, what we're looking for are just those little like rhythms between the kicks and the snares, so little shuffles. And like if I bring this up here, usually I try and go for sort of anywhere from 5 to 15 samples, because if you go outside of that, it can start to sound a bit complicated. Like I find it's better to use a smaller group of samples and do more with them rather than try and just chuck as much in there as you can and hope that it sounds good. I mean, that's probably enough to go off. So what I'm going to do is just bring all of these in. I don't actually know which is which, so we'll find out together. A couple of bass samples in here, nice little sort of loop, kick, another kick, a hat, snare, and like another sort of groove here. Right, so let's see what we're working with. So immediately I know that I'm going to want the bits between the kicks and the snares, and on this one, so that I just want this end part here. So then, for example, with this, already sounding good. So that snare, I'm not like loving it. I'm loving it like this. So maybe we want to swap the snare out, which is this. So I'm going to turn that off. So then what we're going to do is just very simply, just going to replace the snare. And what we're really just going for minimal processing. It's more just about sample selection. How do you get it to a point where it actually sounds cool? Now we got some other stuff in here as well. So what we might also want to do is layer in some hats. So let's see what this hat sounds like. Maybe we want to put that just on the kick, for example. Now we've also got this other loop here. So let's see what's in this. So here we probably just want to take this little groove and then put this in line with these others here, just to give it a bit more beef. So it gives it more of like almost like a shaker. So if we were to take these again, cut them in half, and then what we're going to do is we're just going to reduce these in volume and then copy them across. So with the rest of the beat. So it's just filling in this little bit at the beginning here. Now these, what we can do once we've kind of got the skeleton, if you like, of the beat that we like, this is when we can then start doing things like replacing the snares. So this is a really cool trick that you can use in jungle. So you can just basically replace all of the snares here like that, because then what we have is let's try and find a jungle sample. So maybe we want like this first kick to go like booty booty with the others, because we've already got that here. So you can see we've got kick, hat, and then another hat here. So if we just play these two on their own, we've already got that same feel. So if we just copy that across, we still got this same fast moving hat fill. So we can put that in here like this. I don't know if it's going to sound good, but we'll find out together. Nope, doesn't sound good, but we're just experimenting. That sounds nice. So what we'll do is we'll keep this bit. We're going to replace out this sort of crappier one here, but then we don't necessarily want all of that. We just want this bit like that. So yeah, from here we can really go into a million different directions. If we wanted to have something that was a bit kind of skanky, I'm just going to search skank. Hopefully it's going to come up with some reggae. So with this, I'm going to put on some ambient spaces, long cascades. That sounds good. And then, like, just with a bass line underneath it, we're going to put this to, I think this is A minor. And then what I'd probably do from here is chuck in some vocals that sound like this. The trick is with like jungle and that is just to put on as much echo as you can. The purpose of this video really is to show A, how and where I find my samples from, because I do get quite a lot of questions about it. And then B, how do you then use those samples to get an idea down quickly? Because sometimes if you just labor the point like over and over and over and over again, you never actually get anywhere, and you just got loads of like, you have loads of like uncompleted songs. So that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have learned something useful. If you haven't already, make sure that you do hit subscribe. It's going to be the greatest thing that YouTube's ever seen, guys. You know, you want to be a part of it. And yeah, I think that will pretty much do it.